Welcome back, friends. Have you ever wondered if these OEM LED tail lights are adequate enough to prevent a rear-end collision? Well, we have. Stay tuned and we're going to show you our simple solution to making us more visible. Alright guys, so the simple solution we came up with are these 11 LED light strips that are only about 1.5 inches thick. They're going to mount to this 2-inch square tube that's beneath our rig, which is completely hollow. Should allow us for an easy install of only 2 screw holes and 1 hole for the wires. On each side, the OEM lights, the wiring is literally right here behind it, right at the end of the tube. So our wiring runs will be short. It should be pretty simple to drill through this square tube. So hopefully all things go right, which they never do. This will be a simple install. Things you're going to need for this project are, of course, your lights that comes with the screws and instructions. However, I don't like these screws, so I went out and bought these black-headed self-tapping screws just so you don't have to see the screw heads when they're mounted. I have my tool bag here with all associated tools, and anytime you're working with electricity, you always want to have a multimeter handy. I have my drill and drill bits, and I have an impact with associated driver bits to do the install with the screws. You need your wire. And I have some leftover wire from some other projects, along with some wire loom that we're going to try to get used up. Just makes it easy to use up the things that you have handy rather than going out and getting new. You need your connectors, whether you like these alligator connectors or these butt-in splices. I like these Wago lever connectors. They seem to work really well, really easy to work with, and they're reusable. And they come in many different sizes. I have some silicone here just in case we need it. I'm not sure that we will, but just in case. I have our Rust-Oleum here, so once we drill the holes in the steel tubing, we can protect those from rust. And I have my blue masking tape and some paper to mask off so there's no overspray on our rig. First thing you're going to want to do is align this to where you're going to want to mount it. We want ours as far to the right and to the left as possible, so they're in unison with our OEM lights. So we're just going to line it up on this steel tube to the edge of it, figure out where our center hole needs to be, make a mark about midway, and then that way we can drill for the wires. First I'm going to drill a pilot hole. It's a little bit smaller hole, so that way my larger bit won't walk around on it. And now our second hole, we can go with the bigger drill bit. And now we can test if it's going to fit. Alright, welcome back. It's been a couple days here. We finally got the right drill bit. It took us a little while to get it, but we got the holes drilled, so we're ready to do the installation of these lights. Alright guys, like I said, the holes are drilled. We're ready to go ahead and mask up the rig so we can get a little bit of primer on these holes on the bare metal in order to protect it from, you know, premature rust. We don't want to get any overspray on the rig, so we just got some paper here. We're just going to get masked up and get them sprayed. Alright guys, these wires are awfully short, so we're going to have to extend them a little bit. What we've been doing is just using some of the wire that we already have and using some heat shrink butt connectors with solder in the middle. These things are great, they're easy to use, and being that the wire sizes are a little bit different, both will fit in here. I believe these are 22 gauge because they're pretty small wires, and I'm using a 16 gauge wire here, so a little bit size difference, but it will work. I'm just getting the connectors ready to go up underneath the back of the rig and make the final connections. We are going to use the Wago Lever-Nuts is what they're called, or lever locks. They're fantastic wire clips because you don't have to twist any wires together. And we're going to use a little bit of this dielectric grease since it will be outside and exposed to the weather, you know, rain coming up underneath. I just want to make sure the wires are protected. So we're just going to squirt a little bit of this dielectric grease into the Wago connector. Just like that. And since this is a three-way connector, just like that. We'll do that to all of them. Now all we do is just feed the wire through the channel till it comes out the other side. Get our self-tappers. Even though we already drilled a hole for it, the hole's not as big as the self-tapper, so it just helps, makes it easier for these little screws to get through that steel. Being careful not to run your screw through your wires in the back here. You got to be real careful of that, so we're just going to go real slow. Just enough. You don't want to torque it down with this impact driver. Just like that. Grab another screw. Find our hole. Okay. Those are on there and they're nice and level. Our wires are out here, plenty of lead. All we got to do is reach up behind here and get them connected. Okay, we're underneath the rear of the rig now. These wires are the back of the OEM LED headlight or tail lights. One of them is going to be the flasher, which I don't think it's this one. I am assuming it's going to be these three right here. One of them is going to be tail, one of them is going to be turn and stop. Got a little tester here, a little sharp point, got a little light on the end. It's called a 12-volt tester. We're just going to push it into this wire a little bit. And there's our flasher. And I'm assuming this green one's our tail light, because white's usually the ground. And there you go. There's the tail light. So what we're going to do is mark it with tape. So that one's the tail light, and this one is the turn signal. And then we can get some connectors up in here. So these are the wires for the new light strips, and I just cut them to length. I just had to measure them. And we're just going to put the wire and make sure we get that good dielectric grease into it. There's that one. And this one. And I think I'm going to do the ground also. I don't think I'm going to... Well, stay tuned on the ground. I ain't sure what I'm going to do. There you have it, folks. Pretty easy project. We did get them done. We were running out of light, so we did not film the other side. However, it's the exact same steps as the first side. With the exception, the wire colors are different. Make sure you check your owner's manual. Grab a 12-volt tester like I did, and grab your correct wires. With that being said, this project, I would give it a 5 out of 10. Simply because you're working on an electrical component. So with that being said, babe, how do you like it?
I think it's going to work out perfectly.
Just remember, this is our life.
You do you.
Alright, the things you're going to need for this... Oh wait, I forgot something. Ooh, that squirted a lot. Just need a dab. Don't need much.
That's what she said.
Helps if you have a battery.